Have you ever met someone and you could just tell that they were their parents' favorite? Meet the Shield Knight. This class tanks for the party. It heals itself. It can deal a surprising amount of damage. It can block itself from dying every minute. It can cook. It can clean. It can do taxes. It's got it all. And today, I'm going to show you how you can play God's favorite class. To start, the base Shield Knight has two class resources to worry about. Photon Energy, which is the white gauge you can see here, and Holy Sigils, which are the shield-like icons underneath the bar. Holy Sigils regenerate every 10 seconds after being consumed, and they each have their own cooldown depending on when they were used. Consuming a Holy Sigil also then restores 10 Photon Energy to the gauge. It may sound confusing, but in short, you'll be alternating between skills that consume Holy Sigils and skills that consume Photon Energy. To start off the skills, you have your left mouse button attack, Blade of Justice. It's a pretty generic sword combo, however, some early talents power up this attack for a window when you consume Photon Energy. Hitting enemies with this empowered left mouse button attack can then in turn recover 1 Holy Sigil immediately. Your base special skill is Valor Bash. It consumes 1 Holy Sigil and increases your armor by both a flat amount and a percentage, stacking up to 3 times. This buff lasts for 10 seconds, so you want to make sure you're casting Valor Bash at least once every 10 seconds once you reach those 3 stacks of the armor buff. Your ultimate is Radiant Infusion. It deals a burst of damage, gives you a shield equal to 300% of your attack, and it regenerates both Holy Sigils and Photon Energy. It does everything. To start off the expertise skills, we have Judgment. This is your Photon Energy spender. It costs 45 Photon Energy to use, and it heals you based on how much HP you're missing, with 5% max HP being the minimum it can heal. It's also worth noting that an early talent will enable this skill, when cast, to summon a healing circle every 30 seconds. For the next expertise skill, we have Reckoning. It consumes 2 Holy Sigils to do a good chunk of damage. You'll want to use this to help DPS when you have Holy Sigils to spare. Next up, we have Shield Toss. You toss your shield in a small AoE around yourself, taunting enemies and reducing their damage by 10%. This functions as one of your resourceless damage mitigation skills. Next, we have Sacred Blade. It costs 3 Holy Sigils to use and lets you summon a sword to attack the enemy. It taunts them and gives you 5 stacks of Lightforged Barrier. Each stack is 2% extra max HP tacked onto your health bar, with any damage dealt to you taking away 1 stack. For our first main taking skill, we have Radiance. This skill has no cost and on a 70-second cooldown, reduces the damage you take based on your maximum HP. Since this skill has no cost, it's great to use either for tank busters from bosses or at the start of a wall-to-wall dungeon pool. Our other damage mitigation skill is Aegis Ward. For 10 seconds, you gain both flat armor and reduce a percentage of damage taken. If you would have taken a fatal hit during this 10-second window, you'd instead just consume this buff and stay alive. For the last skill, we have Zeal Crusade. This one consumes at least 8 of your Lightforged Barrier stacks to deal damage in an AoE around you that both restores your consumed Lightforged Barrier stacks and heals you for 1% max HP every second. Moving on to the specializations, first up we have the Healing Spec. This is your generic Paladin style class. You gain more bonus armor, you can sustain yourself with stronger self-healing, and you can crit for big damage. As such, you want to focus on the crit and mastery substats, and for the skills, you want to utilize Judgment, Reckoning, Shield Toss, and Aegis Ward. The rotation is relatively simple. You want to use Valor Bash to reach 3 stacks as quickly as possible, while DPSing with a combination of your empowered left mouse button attack and Reckoning. Make sure to use Judgment before you reach 100 Photon Energy so it doesn't overcap. You'll also want to make sure you're utilizing Shield Toss to maintain aggro and using Aegis Ward when needed. If you're fighting a boss, that'd be before a big tank buster or if you're about to die. And for dungeons, it can honestly be at the start of a pull to keep yourself alive. For the Imagines, there are a few options for you to use. Utility-wise, there's the Tempest Ogre, which vacuums enemies and reduces their damage. Moving on to the other specialization, the Shield Spec. This spec focuses on utilizing Lightforged Barrier for its damage and defense. As such, you'll want to focus on Mastery and Haste substats. The expertise skills you want to utilize are Judgment, Sacred Blade, Radiance, and Zeal Crusade. Furthermore, your special skill is replaced by Vanguard Strike. Vanguard Strike costs 1 Holy Sigil and hits the enemy while granting 2 stacks of Lightforged Barrier. For the rotation, you'll want to start with Radiance to buy yourself time to build up Lightforged Barrier stacks with Sacred Blade and Vanguard Strike. Once you reach 10 stacks, you'll want to trigger Zeal Crusade to maximize your self-healing and damage. Lastly, make sure to use Judgment when approaching 100 Photon Energy to not cap out on that resource. The Imagines for the Shield spec are basically identical to the Healing spec. Tempest Ogre for mob vacuuming, And that about wraps it up today for arguably the most well-rounded class in the game. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more videos, let me know in the comments which class should be next, and most importantly, have a blessed day.